You understand English, you watch movies, you study grammar, you have a lot of vocabulary, but when it comes to it, you simply cannot speak English. If this happens to you, this video will completely change the way you see speaking English as a second language. Today, what I'm telling you is going to be the 4 reasons and how I see that you can take on the idea of speaking better. You understand this video, you know what I'm talking about, but when you are confronted with a business meeting, when you travel, when you have to talk to different people, then you simply freeze. The 4 reasons are going to prove to you that it's much simpler to go about speaking than you imagine. You know much more speaking than you actually know. You know how to do it. You know English, but the speaking can be a challenge. The 4 reasons will change your mind and we are going to reset the way you think. Reason number 1, you learned English passively. You studied with course books, you had grammar lessons, maybe you studied with some notes, with some exercises, and that is all very good. It's important to receive the language in a passive way. However, we don't study English, we don't learn English in a passive way. We learn it by living it. So if you recognize yourself as a person who can understand but can't speak, maybe the step you need to take is use everything you know, use everything you study in an active manner, in a way that you take ownership of that. And how do you do this? How do you debunk this kind of situation that you are living? With passive English, you have to start using that in an active way. How do you make it active? You active listen to things, you active read to things. If you don't know a lot about active listening and active reading, make sure you leave that in the comments and I will send you some videos I have in my channel, in my social media about these 2 methodologies. Active listening and active reading, you take ownership of the language you are acquiring. You pick up 5 or 6 new things you are learning and you make it active. You speak more using these words, you make sure you create sentences that are real for you, and you watch out actively for these words in the real world. In this way, you are already transforming something that you had passively into something you are going to do actively. Second reason that speaking can be a challenge for anyone learning English as a second language is that you are translating everything in your head. You can confess it, you can own up to me that this is what happens in most of the time. When you are having a conversation, your brain is going from English to your language, it's coming up with the answer in your language and then translating it to English, and all of this while the conversation goes on, while the conversation doesn't stop. That makes you feel frustrated. That takes time. And especially that makes you freeze. If you want to unlock your speaking English, the moment is the moment for you to stop translating and start thinking in English. One way to debunk that and to start changing this perception is to start learning words in phrases, in chunks. So instead of going word by word in your head, start learning small phrases that mean what you are trying to say. One example that is classic, it is when you want to talk to someone and you can't wait for that moment. It's okay for you to say, I can't wait to see you. But it's much more natural if you memorize, if you learn, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. Instead of saying, okay, all the time, translating things in your head as you go, you can learn the expression, sounds good. Do you want to go out tonight? Sounds good. In that way, your English becomes more natural, you speak better, and you stop using your native language in that process. Step number three, or should I say misconception number three, is you are afraid of making mistakes. Believe me, this is the reason that the most people are preventing themselves from speaking English fluently is the desire to be perfect. As adults, we want to succeed, to be perfect, to perfect ourselves in so many ways that when we make mistakes, that makes us frozen and that makes us freeze in that situation. So that is a way that you can change that mindset into avoiding the pursue for perfection. I think something that is very important when you are looking for this change, this new mindset, is to start paying attention at native speakers. Do you think they are perfect? Do you think they don't make any mistakes? If you do, you are wrong. When you watch series, when you watch movies, when you listen to songs actively, you will see that they make a lot of mistakes. They don't necessarily follow all the grammar rules you have been studying. If you have been studying so many grammar rules, when you're going to speak, you are just focusing on that. And you may not know that making mistakes is part of the problem. And you may not know, you may not realize that making mistakes are part of the process. They are part of the way you are operating your English. And more than anything, people will understand your English even if it's wrong, even if it's not grammatically correct. Make sure you change that mindset and it will make all the difference in your speaking. And last but not least, one of the reasons you are not speaking English the way you understand it is you don't speak English consistently. I always say here in the channel, I always say pretty much everywhere that consistency is better than intensity. There's no point in you speaking English for 1 hour with your English teacher once a week if you don't do that consistently throughout the week. You don't practice the speaking. Usually, human beings, they avoid the things they don't like. This is part of human nature. So I really like writing. I do that more. I really like listening. I listen to podcasts all the time. But speaking is not my cup of tea. I don't feel comfortable. I don't like it. I freeze. So you avoid doing it. And that is the problem. If you don't speak English, if you don't practice the muscles, the brain power, the construction you need to speak naturally, you will never get there. You need to incorporate 10, 15 minutes every day where you can speak English in your like daily basis. A good way to do this is to find AI tools that you can talk and have a normal conversation where you speak and they respond free of judgment, free of, looking eyes that are telling you what you should and shouldn't do. AI tools can be a great resource for you to incorporate speaking all the time. Find a speaking buddy, somebody who studies with you, somebody real, a real person that you can talk to. You can record audio messages. Audio messages are also amazing tools for you to incorporate and make sure speaking is a regular part of your day. If you avoid it, you will never get there. So make sure you write in the comments if you need more tools. I can suggest, recommend AI tools that are effective for this consistent practice. I can recommend other things or bring other videos here to the channel helping you with one or all of these four situations. Make sure you practice, make sure you bring English and real English and active English in your day, and your speaking will be fluent in no time. See you later, see you in the next video, and bye.